And hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. We're back again after a week off. Thank you everyone for giving me that time. I needed it to deal with the face bones, that I had removed. It's a whole big deal. I'm sure if you've heard me on the show many times before complain about the state of my teeth. Well, I'm finally taking the necessary steps to get the hard work done and everything there. It's just, really painful. And that's before, my tooth fucking abscesses and everything a week before I'm supposed to get it filled, and I got to get it yanked out anyway. It's a whole big thing. But don't worry, I feel much better now, and I get to do it all again around June 15th. So,
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, it's so fun. It needed to be done. Again, all my back teeth are freaking broken and rotting because I didn't take enough care of them. But hey, now I get to have a fun custom plate made, so that'll be good.
Awesome.
I'll be like Jaws from James Bond.
Yeah, you can go bite like cart cables in half and everything.
Absolutely.
It'd be cool.
That's
You
the
could be
dream,
like
bro.
become like a carny and like eat cars
Living
and
the
shit
dream.
and whatnot.
Living the dream is what you're saying. If this YouTube thing never works out, I can just travel the highways and byways of America as a carny.
Eating shit.
Eating shit, yeah. Just like that movie. It was really good. Willem Dafoe was in it. What was it called? It just came out. Del Toro?
Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare Alley, yeah. I can live my Nightmare Alley fantasy. Oh, he'll geek for me. Oh, he'll geek. The way that Defoe says that is so threatening. He'll geek for you. Hey, you just gotta put a little opium there in his shot. Yeah, then he'll geek for you. Nightmare Alley is a great movie, everyone. You should totally see it. I have always actually loved the carnival and carnival history. There's a great PBS documentary about the carnival and carnies, and they interview like all these real old carnies, like these lovely old men in sweater vests who were like clowns back in the day, and they're sweet old men telling like the raunchiest stories you've ever heard, where it's like, yeah, so you see on the train at night when no one could hear you, that's when the fucking would happen. That's why I joined the carnival, for the hardcore sex. So a bunch of old 1950 clowns fucking on a train. Think about that in the dead of night.
In their costume in full makeup.
Well, naturally, because you only had one set of clothes. So think about that, everyone. When you go to sleep tonight, think about that and let that haunt your dreams. But what have you been up to, Matt?
Not much. Started a new job.
Yes, you did. We weren't sure if we were able to keep the show on the same night, but I guess we are for the time being.
Yeah, probably for the foreseeable future, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and just been sort of trying to catch up on comics and everything since I'm so far behind, and just reading them as well.
I hear you.
And yeah, just been doing stuff like that.
Yeah. You got a new mini fridge that you were quite proud of. We were talking about mini fridges before we started.
Yes, I put it right next to my desk for easy access.
Nice. What's in the mini fridge right now?
I don't think I've got actually anything in it because I've only just like kind of put it on, and you're meant to like leave it for a little bit so it like cools down and everything. So I don't have anything in it right now.
It's just a regular fridge too. It's not one of those custom mini fridges that look like something fun.
No, it's just a normal one. I'm probably gonna put like some stickers or something on it.
Nice. That's always good to go. You got to really customize it, make it your own.
Yeah, it's not one of those ones you see like those influencers. What's that powdered stuff that they say like makes you a better
G-Fuel.
yeah makes you a better gamer? Yeah, it's
Makes
not
you
one of
better
those
gamer.
G Fuel fridges.
Get the gamer juice in you. Gamer fuel for gamers. It helps me focus and makes my heart, beat off rhythm. I assume. I've never tasted G Fuel, but I know plenty of people who shell for it.
Yeah.
So it must be good, I guess. We're not a gaming channel, so I don't think G Fuel will ever actually sponsor us.
You never know. Comic Multiverse powered by G Fuel.
That's true. It's not G Fuel, but it's like one of their like competition companies. I think I did try and write them at one point because their idea is like if you sell enough, they will actually name a flavor after you.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking forever, what would the comic multiverse flavor be?
I think we've
Mango?
had this discussion before. Yeah.
I feel like we have multiverse mint, multiverse mango. The problem is that there's like not a lot of really great flavors that start with M.
No.
That's the real problem. Mint mango, that just sounds disgusting. That sounds like a torture.
Yeah, no thank you.
Masala. It's the first masala drink.
It's just pure masala.
Spicy and satisfying. Hey, you do great in the Indian market, not so much here. They can't get enough of you over there. Now, again, it's not G Fuel I have, but there was some other gamer drink. It was like the one game convention I went to, and they had like a bunch of free samples. And of course, because I'm a dirtbag, I just, sat right there for 15 minutes. Ah, yes, yes, let me swish and taste it. Ah, yes, this is wonderful. This is blue raspberry, you say. Yes, yes. Might I have another, please? So I just sat there and drank free samples all day.
And you just came back in different like outfits and hats.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, is this stuff good for me? Is this stuff supposed to be like energy drink? Ow, why does my chest hurt? Why do I taste iron?
Why can I feel my skin?
My teeth itch. Is that supposed to be right? Oh, Magmaster has a good one. Multiverse matcha. Yes,
Ooh,
that's
yes.
right. We're a green tea flavor. You're absolutely. I'm drinking green tea iced tea right now, Arizona.
Nice.
It's just this. We just put that in the bottle and just, scrape off the label.
just buy like heaps of bottles of Arizona iced tea, the 99-cent ones, and just put our logo on them.
Damn right. Oh, the chat's saying too, hey, did you hear about Austin St. John, the original Red Power Ranger, getting in trouble for defrauding COVID relief? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, he seems like a real big piece of shit.
Oof. Although, still maybe not the worst Red Ranger who got in trouble for doing crimes, because the Wild Force guy went to jail for murder. So.
That's true, yeah. But hasn't he done something before as well?
Maybe. I know there was like I think we might be thinking of another guy who got in trouble for stealing and like for defrauding a bunch of fans.
Okay.
There was one guy, I think it wasn't SPD, but it was like one of those later seasons where he like literally just took a bunch of stuff that people had signed at a convention and just left with it. Which is funny because he played a thief on the show and is apparently a thief in real life. They'll never expect it was me. I'll just do it. No one will ever know. But yeah, that'll be the next trial of the century, the next big celebrity trial. People will be watching that like the frickin' Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Be the next thing where it's like, I don't think we're supposed to be watching this. I don't think this is fit for public consumption.
Why is that on TikTok?
Yeah, why are people binging this like it's a TV show? This is just sad, everyone.
Yeah.
At least with OJ and Michael Jackson, it's like, oh, he killed someone. Oh, he might have molested someone. Not just like watching a deeply unhappy couple fucking fight and snipe at each other.
Yeah.
But hey, that's just me. Now, we actually do have a fair amount of news this week, Matt, so should we hop into it?
We should, yeah.
Starting things off, of course, the biggest thing that happened this week that everyone is talking about is the first trailer for She-Hulk Attorney at Law dropped.
Yeah.
I love that it's Attorney at Law. I love that that's the subtitle.
Yeah, I was surprised they actually put a subtitle for it.
Because it's funny and playful, and it lets you know right out of the gate that this is the type of show that it is. It's single female lawyer. It's Ally McBeal, but with superpowers.
Yeah.
In fact, even the trailer itself does a pretty funny job kind of baiting and switching you, because it starts off like every other superhero trailer, like, the world, ooh, big overhead shots of cities, ooh, paramilitary guys. And then the longer the trailer goes on, the more Ally McBeal it gets.
Mm-hmm.
She's having shots with her girlfriends there. She's trying to date at 30.
Yep.
Just classic Jen Walter stuff from the comic, really.
Yeah. It looked pretty great.
Absolutely. Captain Kuhn in the chat helping us out. I don't need gamer subs because I'm a real man. PCP all the way. Oh, no, I'm freaking out. The dream is collapsing. Yeah, that's all you really need, man. Just hardcore amphetamine.
Yeah, PCP, do your bath salts,
You kids today are soft with your G Fuel and all these other gamer supplements. Back in my day, I did it on a constant stream of bong hits and pizza rolls.
Whenever I go on a gaming binge, I just do the Hunter S Thompson day schedule,
yes.
Dove bars and
man.
cocaine.
Oh man, I was just reading that the other day. For those who don't know, Hunter S. Thompson was this really prolific writer. He hung out with the Hells Angels. Ironically enough, that Johnny Depp movie, what is it? Frickin' Vegas. Well, why is it on?
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is based on him, and you can read it right now. His daily drug intake. So he'd like wake up, little acid, smoke some joints, drink a lot of Maker's Mark.
Yeah. Cocaine, a shitload of like food because of the the marijuana, and then like Dove bars, and then like he doesn't start writing until like 11 o'clock that night.
At night, and that was his process for writing, and I'm like, fuck, man, that's just how I'm trying to be for podcasts.
And this is in between him going out and like literally him and his next door neighbor like shooting at each other.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes. It's insane, isn't it?
They're just like shooting at each other with rifles from like across like a hill. It's fucking great.
Out of this fucking world. Hunter S. Thompson also killed himself at 60, in case you were wondering. Yeah. He killed himself as an old man because I think he had done everything he ever needed to do.
Yeah, and his ashes were shot out of a cannon by Johnny Depp.
Sounds about right. Oh, Captain Kuhn gave us the answer there. It was the Overdrive Ranger, the Black Overdrive Ranger, who they suspect stole a big banner that they were going to raffle off for charity at Morphicon.
They just suspected him. It's like, is that his car over there? There's a big banner sticking out of it.
It might be him. We don't know. Magmaster again. Ally McBeal, are we going to get another CGI dancing baby to Hooked on a Feeling? Quite possibly. It's going to be Baby Groot. It's going to be a Baby Groot dancing to Hooked on a Feeling.
Yep.
Because, hey, it matches up, doesn't it? But yeah, so it's Jen Walters living her life, trying to be a lawyer for, I guess what they're establishing, a brand new, like, super law division.
Yeah, she specializes in superhero and, like, superpowered people law.
Which makes sense. We also see a lot of footage of her actually in the courtroom proper. It looks like she gets into a couple fights there, which again is basically every She-Hulk story ever.
Yeah, we see her also going to what I assume is the MCU's version of the Myrmidon.
Yeah, that big interesting building. Yeah, that's
because it's not the Raft. We've seen the Raft.
Yeah. I know there was a lot of discussion and debate about what that building could be, and I think you're right. I think it is the Myrmidon.
Yeah.
So we get that going on there. Obviously, we know that Blonsky is in the show, which means Tim Roth is back.
Yep.
Which creates an interesting bit of timeline where it's like, okay, well, how is he here? And also in the Shang-Chi Fight Club, and also Banner is back to being Smart Hulk. So does this take place in between the end of Endgame and Shang-Chi? It'll be very interesting to see if they answer any of those hard-hitting timeline questions, or if they're just like, just go with it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. It's the MCU. I'm sure it has its place in the timeline somewhere.
Right. Frogman looks to be in it.
Hot off his appearance in the Iron Man book.
Oh, was he there too?
Yeah, he was like a big mainstay. He was like one of the driving forces behind Tony going to rehab and everything.
Oh, that's kind of awesome. I love that they're not afraid to adapt silly villains now.
I know. And well, in the comics, he's not a villain anymore.
Oh, really? He's reformed?
Yeah, he's just like a guy that like Tony asked to help him in space against Korvac. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's really funny. Obviously, Banner himself is in the show trying to help Jen master her powers, and I love the way they state it in the trailer. It's so beautiful and so perfect. I'm shocked no comic writer has ever done this, where they're like, She-Hulk, you'll like her when she's angry.
The one thing I'm really surprised the trailer didn't do, maybe a later trailer will do, was like, was so sure that they were going to set up, well, how is Jennifer Walters a Hulk? Because in the comics, it's because she was in an accident and Bruce had to give her blood and everything.
We do see a car crash.
We do, yeah. We see it briefly, but it's never actually mentioned. It looks like when she has the car crash, she turns into the Hulk.
Oh, interesting. Huh. I wonder.
Yeah, so maybe she already had the accident, like previously, and it's just like a delayed reaction or something.
Right. The way I put it together, and again, maybe they want you to do this because they're going to subvert your expectation, but the way I assumed was, She gets this job at the new Super Crimes division. She runs afoul of those paramilitary guys who are probably going to be the villains of the show. She gets hurt, needs the blood transfusion, and then Bruce helps her do everything that they're going to do.
Yeah.
Also, looks like there's a couple villains in the show, too, which I like. I hope they're not afraid at being episodic, because I know basically all of these shows outside maybe WandaVision have been more like, oh, we're telling one long story, one long movie. I don't hate the idea of She-Hulk being episodic. In fact, I think a case a week is actually a very good place for She-Hulk to live.
It'd be an interesting way to do sort of like, instead of like, you know, the monster of the week, you do the case of the week, and that includes like a monster of the week, because she's representing, you know, awful people in jail who have superpowers.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a place you could go for that. And also, it would make it different from all the other shows and give it a different flavor, which I think they've mostly done for all these new Disney Plus Marvel shows. They made them just different enough from each other.
Yeah, I think they have,
Yeah, I wouldn't hate a more episodic take on it. But I think, of course, the most important thing about She-Hulk, the thing that everyone was raving about, is that She-Hulk definitely fucks, Matt. Finally, an MCU hero who fucks. The hero of our generation who speaks to all of us and our giant green muscle mommies who fuck. Though apparently she was supposed to be muscly, though, even more musclier, but they kept getting shouted down, apparently, the people in the show from the higher-ups, which only proves that Hollywood is filled with cowards.
I'm inclined to sort of doubt that, just because that came on the heels of everyone getting upset about that, and it seemed like something just to rile people up and everything.
Possibly.
And I do find it absolutely hilarious that I spent years and years seeing people getting so upset about the giant She-Hulk in the comics, in the Avengers run, getting so upset about that.
And now that they don't get it.
Yeah, now that they don't have that in the movies, because she's not even like that in the new She-Hulk series. She looks like she does in the TV show here.
As she always does,
So, yeah.
It's a perfect example that comic fans, geeks in general, are kind of fickle. Kind of fickle people. A little unappreciative of what they have until it's gone.
Yeah.
Again, I'm reminded of that Harry Potter bit there. But there were 47 gifts last year, but there were bigger She-Hulks last year. Where am I bigger She-Hulk? We need to go out and buy me a bigger She-Hulk.
And here's the thing about Hulks. The angrier they get, the bigger they get.
Also that.
Yeah, and that's something we've actually seen in the MCU, so, you know, maybe she'll get bigger. Maybe it's something when she gets really angry.
There's places you can go with it, and also, too, I mean, you know, I think they want Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk to be a recurring thing, so even if you don't get it season 1, I see that as something that they would totally try and do season 2, where it's like, hey, she's back and bigger.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Tevia's saying, what about the Daredevil being in the show? I mean, we're going to get to that, Tevia. We're still talking about She-Hulk, but don't worry, we're going to get to that next. In fact, we'll get to it right now. Hey, so obviously Jen Walters is a lawyer. The show's going to be based around, you know, like Law and Order and everything. They also announced this week that apparently they're developing a Daredevil show. What's the over-under that Matt probably appears in this?
Oh, absolutely. I think he's going to be in the Echo show as well.
I mean, it has to be, because Echo is literally picking up from where the Kingpin stuff left off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't be shocked if he gets a name drop in She-Hulk and then shows up in Echo before eventually spinning off into his own show.
Yep. And even that was really funny, because how many years has it been since the show ended, and then Disney Plus coming along, and people kept saying, like, we need a Daredevil show, give us a Daredevil show, give us they get it, and now all I see are people complaining is like, because Disney's got to fuck it up and everything. You guys wanted it. You guys wanted it.
It's very tiring and very tedious, isn't it? I had a total moment, just like, Jesus Christ, are you people for real right now? Also, too, hey, guess what? It's not going to be like the Netflix show, because it can't be. So get that right out of your mind. And also, that's good, because you had 3 seasons of that show. It's the only one that made it 3 seasons. That was good television, and now people can probably rediscover it if they do a new Disney Plus show. In fact, I really hope they do the polar opposite for the Disney Plus Daredevil show. I hope we do the straight up Mark Waid era, where he's more of a swashbuckling hero now.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. Because after 3 really dark seasons, we hook up with Matt again and shit's going good for him.
And you don't know what, like, his storyline through, like, Echo and She-Hulk and then to this new show was going to be.
Absolutely. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, it might not be so violent. I'm like, well, I mean, Daredevil isn't violent all the time.
No. They just see that, like, one Frank Miller, again, fucking Frank Miller, that one Frank Miller comic and think, oh, that's what Daredevil is. It's the same with people with, like, Punisher. They only see Max. And,
yes.
Yeah.
Or the Bendis years where he's, like, beating up Kingpin in the streets and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, there's definitely ways you can go with it, and people are quick to be like, oh, but Moon Knight should have been more violent. I'm like, again, I think you only know Moon Knight from, like, the face cutting off era. He's not like that all the time. Regular Moon Knight was really no more or less violent than old Batman at the time.
Read the new, the, like, most recent run. He's nothing, you know, he's not cutting people's faces off or anything.
No.
And, he's very much more like Batman.
If anything, that's a running joke in the new series. Like, oh, don't cut my face off, Moon Knight's like, oh, what? I did that one time.
Yeah, yeah.
Am I ever going to get to live it down? Again, it's very funny. It's very funny how certain, you know, geeks react to stuff there. And I wonder how many of them actually do read the books or how many of them just have this idea in their mind, like you said, because they've seen a couple panels.
Yeah, I think a lot of them just see that couple of panels
and have decided that that's the only way it can be. But yeah, like I said, excited for the potential of a Daredevil show. I hope they get Foggy back. I hope they get Karen back, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they were really great, and their arcs were really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what you could do? You could actually send Karen to go work at the Bugle now, like, officially.
Yes.
Again, have her maybe interact with J.K. Simmons or something. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, it is a shame as well that Ben Urich is dead.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could bring him back. That would undercut everything, but like,
it would. They could bring in his nephew though. His nephew Phil.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Phil, who's like a shithead wannabe supervillain who was the Hobgoblin. Wouldn't that be crazy? You get the Hobgoblin in a Disney Plus show, but he's a Daredevil villain. That would piss a lot of people off, but I'd just be stoked on the idea that we got the Hobgoblin in something.
Yeah, yeah. They're all upset that it's not Ned.
Yeah. Also, Draven G. Bullseye. Yeah, you could actually bring Bullseye back and put him in his costume if you wanted.
Yeah, I didn't mind that actor who played him in that last season. He was pretty good.
Yeah, he had a lot going on for him there. I would actually, again, I'd like to see them go in more of a Mark Waid direction and be like, yo, Akari is your villain now.
I'd like that, yeah.
Akari, he was only in a couple stories, but he's cool as fuck, has a good design, and his design is basically just like an evil version of Daredevil, and the MCU loves doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think they'll bring back the Hand or anything?
Maybe they should, because, I mean, the Hand is kind of cool as a concept and maybe something worth salvaging, because, again, that's something I feel the Defenders kind of dropped the ball on the Hand super hard.
Well, maybe instead of the Hand, he could fight, like, the 10 Rings, because they're coming back.
Yeah, that could be an option, too. You know, spread them to other stuff. And, I mean, yeah, they're ninjas. It's all ninjas. It's all cool.
Yeah.
You know, one ninja clan, same as the rest. It's like, hey, didn't you guys used to wear red before? No, other guys.
Other guys, yeah.
Other guys, different, legally distinct. That would be fun. I could see that. I mean, yeah, there's just a lot of places you could still go with Daredevil. And again, you know, for, you know, all the shit people give, like the Disney Plus shows or have been recently, where it's like, oh, it's not as dark or it's not as violent. Every so often they surprise you, though. Like, again, Falcon and Winter Soldier, U.S. agent caving that motherfucker's head in with a shield. That was unexpected.
That's why I don't think people understand what, like,
PG-13 really means.
Yeah. Well, you had all those people, like, getting up in arms about Doctor Strange being violent and everything. And it's those same people that want violence, but they want a specific type, like violence. Yeah, like being serious and everything isn't just all about violence and everything.
It is weird. It does speak to this weird, you know, dichotomy in geek culture. You're right. Yeah, the people who were complaining like, oh, how did, you know, Doctor Strange get away without being an R? Are the same people being like, oh, Moon Knight wasn't violent enough. They kept cutting away.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, I never thought about that, Matt, but you're right. To have both those discourses happening at the same time is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Chat saying, do you think they'd bring back Elektra? I mean, if you brought Daredevil back, you kind of got to bring back everybody, and Elektra is super important to
Didn't she
Matt's
die?
story. Yeah, well, you can always bring her back, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, she never stays dead. That's kind of Elektra's thing. No one ever really stays dead. Now, it would be super cool, too, with the Daredevil show, with the She-Hulk show, if she's doing Mysteries of the Week. What a great avenue, too, to bring back Mike Coulter and Jessica Jones and everyone else, or even just reference that they exist.
Yeah. I'd specifically like Mike Coulter and Christian Ritter to come back, just because they were really great. They were great.
Wonderful, never got the love they deserved. Finn Jones, you can stay over there. Misty Knight and Colleen Wing can come back, though.
Yeah. They can come back as the Daughters of the Dragon.
Yes, they can. In fact, if they ever did Iron Fist, it would be great. It's a guy, he shows up in costume, so you don't have to explain that it's not Finn Jones because he's in costume. The thing he never did.
Yeah.
Hey, that's another thing about the Disney Plus show that I think they learned over the Netflix shows. We like it when our heroes are in costume.
Yeah. That's probably the most exciting thing for me about this Daredevil show. I'm like, oh, he's going to actually have a good costume and actually be in it for quite a while. He's not just going to keep putting it back in its case and just, it'll be in the last episode.
Yeah, which is something we put up with at the time because it's like, well, the writing and acting and characterization is so good, I'm willing to accept that, they can't always be in the costume all the time.
Yeah, well, goddamn, in season 3, he never even fucking wore the costume. I think he wore it once in that first episode, and then Bullseye got hold of it.
Yeah.
And he had to wear the black, the Frank Miller one.
Yeah, the black onesie version that gets stolen from him. Yeah, I would really like to see what they do with the costume, because, again, say what you want about any of the other shows, they've killed it on costumes. They've all been great.
Make it red and yellow.
Yes, U.S. Agent looks great, Scarlet Witch looked great, Moon Knight looked great, they all looked great.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it would be crazy to be like, yep, we're doing red and yellow this time, because why not?
It looks so good.
Yeah, we can do it. Why not? And it's a nice point of dichotomy to be like, yep, this one's different.
Mm-hmm.
This one is different from the Netflix one.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from there, we got some more news coming down the pipeline. We're talking about a bunch of things that will be. Let's talk about something that won't be. That Wonder Twins movie that was apparently in development has gotten scrapped, and it got scrapped for one of the weirdest reasons, budgetary reasons.
I mean, is it really? They had something like 50 odd million or something stacked away for this film, for a Wonder Twins film.
Yeah.
And the new owner of WB Discovery's like, that's probably a bit too expensive for a HBO Max film. And to me that makes sense, because you look at it's like, okay, he wants something on HBO Max to still have a budget but not be ridiculous, because you look at fucking Netflix, they spent $300 million on that The Rock Ryan Reynolds movie that came out recently. That's insane.
The one with The Rock.
That's fucking insane.
It really is.
But a budget that's 30 mil for something that comes out exclusively on an app, that's pretty decent.
I very much see where they're coming from on that, and that is look, if we're doing something for streaming, we can't keep pissing money away at it. That is what our predecessors did, and that's why we own them now.
Yeah, that's why Netflix is in the toilet.
Yeah. Again, if we are DC and Warner Brothers, we should only be putting money behind things that we may think will make us $1 billion. Everything else should go to the app for a reasonable budget. And yeah, it's the Wonder Twins. You and I like Wonder Twins, ironically, but yeah, I can see someone being like, wait, you were going to spend how much on fucking Wonder Twins?
Yeah, and you got to imagine, the Wonder Twins, no one really knows who they are.
They're a punchline for most of pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Captain Kun helping us out. Being violent for the sake of being violent would make the violence meaningless instead of using the violence for a purpose, like showing how far our character is willing to go with their goals. Exactly.
Yeah, and as I was saying, violence as in physical violence isn't the only type of violence, and we've seen it in these shows all the time.
Psychological, emotional,
but
spiritual.
People don't seem to understand that.
No. If he doesn't punch him and doesn't bleed, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I'm like, you're watching superhero stuff. Superhero stuff is for children mostly.
Yeah.
Again, are you trying to fight the fact that you're watching something that was originally made for children? No problem enjoying it. I like it. I enjoy it. I get a lot from it. But I don't deny what the core basis of it is.
Mm-hmm.
The heart and soul of the superhero is the joy and wonderment of children, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Again, it's why it's not worth getting all bent out of shape about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Wonder Woman cut due to budget. I think this gives us a really interesting roadmap of what the new Warner DC Discovery people are doing when it comes to running their business, and it's a lot of belt tightening.
Yeah. Well, as well as that, it's like, I think like limiting how much a film's budget can be on the app is good, because that means you could probably make more.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Because instead of making 5 films, you can now make 10 films because the budgets are smaller.
Absolutely, yeah, you can spread that love around. Tevia's saying, but The Boys is super dark. The Boys is a parody, Tevia. It's meant to be funny. They're making a joke. They're doing commentary on the overuse of violence in a genre that isn't normally known for it. The Boys was not made for children. It was made by a very cynical Garth Ennis who was taking massive potshots at the comic industry he was working in.
Yeah.
It's a parody and a deconstruction.
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually had a dude arguing with me the other day, being like, "Oh, but they kill people in Invincible," and I'm like, "Invincible is also a deconstruction."
Very obvious one.
It's not meant to be the thing. It's making fun of the thing. It is dissecting the thing. Do we need to again go back to media literacy class for a second? But yeah, that's where we're at. So yeah, there's your update, or lack thereof, on Wonder Twins. It's not happening, but maybe they'll be able to make other stuff now. Like that Amanda Waller show. You hear they're kicking around trying to develop an Amanda Waller show?
I did hear that, yeah.
Yeah, Viola Davis would executive produce. They'd get one of the showrunners from that Watchmen show that I still haven't watched, and James Gunn would also be on board as an executive producer.
Yeah, I think it could be quite interesting, and it'd be like a really good way to lead into like another Suicide Squad film. To do all the build up in that TV show.
Absolutely. And at the end of Peacemaker, Waller's in a really interesting position because her daughter has outed the existence of the Suicide Squad to the world.
Yes.
So I think there's a lot of really great places you could take with Waller. Is she trying to rebuild the squad under like a microscope now? Do they give her like a little government handler? Does she have to go on the run and go underground, or does she have to like fake being in retirement or something? I think Viola Davis would kill all that. It'd
be really cool if it builds towards like a killed Amanda Waller movie where like the squad
all of her enemies come to get her.
The squad under their own like command like come together and say let's take the bitch out and like go, and it's kind of like an assault on Precinct 13 sort of like Warriors thing where they got to hunt her down or something.
And she's not gonna go quietly, so she likes booby trapped her house and everything.
She's fucking like John Wick, Yeah,
Viola Davis, action hero. I'd buy it. Board with that. I would too. Also, hey, building a whole show in the superhero genre around an older black woman, I think is kind of amazing because no one else is doing that now.
No.
And I think that's kind of killer to be like, yeah, here at DC, we give all sorts of people the leading role and their own star vehicle. And also, those 2 Suicide Squad movies and Peacemaker, they never really got into Waller's history and what makes her tick. And there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Maybe do some flashbacks to young Waller starting off in like I don't know where she started, like at the post office or something, as like an up-and-coming government worker, learns how corrupt and messed up everything is before starts doing dirty deeds for the government.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of great stuff there. Like maybe she really cared at the beginning, but this dark spy world ground her down. And also maybe Adebayo would come back too, because I would actually love to see them act off each other.
Yeah, it'll be great. Yeah, they didn't really do much in the Peacemaker show. I mean, they could in season 2.
Yeah, they literally phoned in all their conversations. They were never in the same room. Which that's interesting too, where it's like, oh, so that means at some point Amanda Waller had a husband, because like I believe in the most original comics, her origin is like her husband and kids were killed because of something, and that's what made her like cold and dark and made her want to take out all these anger on supervillains. So it would be interesting to be like, oh, was Adebayo adopted? Did she come from another marriage? What's that about?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of places they could go with that. I hope that show gets made, but like Wonder Twins, I could see them being like, whoa, we're doing a show about someone who doesn't wear a costume. No.
I could see them do that, but then also James Gunn is attached, and he's like kind of like their poster child at the moment.
He kind of is. I've spun gold out of everything you've given me, so... So maybe let me make this crazy show.
Yeah, I did like that the guy mentioned, Zaslav, he mentioned that they are actively looking for kind of like the Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige person for not just DC, but he mentioned, I think, what was the other thing they own? Was it New Line? Something for something else. Like he was going to have it as specific people looking after certain studios, so like the DC movies, and then the seller guy looks after these type of movies. Right. Yeah, and that makes sense.
Right. Huh, yeah, places you could go with that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on from there. We got a twofer on this one. This is video game news and also kind of TV news.
Yeah.
So, Gotham Knights, the long-awaited sequel, reimagining, continuation, spin-off, whatever the hell you want to call it, of the Arkham series. We got our first new game footage in, God, a really long time.
Yeah, and it looks dated.
Sure does. I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, like extremely dated. It's not as fast as the Arkham games. People did like comparisons about like, because they had like... they had the Red Hood and Nightwing fighting goons, and it was like so fucking slow. And then you compare it to like Arkham Knight, and it's so fast paced and everything.
Yeah, and also it's like, yes, so nothing has changed here, and you made it slower. I love the Arkham games, but there was this kind of almost like mechanicalness when you went from like, okay, this is an action scene, this is a detective scene, this is like a friggin' platforming, grappling scene. You always knew which one you were in, and it always took like a couple seconds, even a couple minutes to go from one to another, and that's a problem they never quite solved in that series. Good though it is.
Yes.
And it feels like they haven't fixed that here either. Also, they had a very strange idea where it's like, well, they can't all get around with grappling hooks, but they do that in the comics. Yeah, but they can't do it in the game, though. That wouldn't be interesting, to have 4 different player classes and them all use grappling hooks. So Nightwing is going to have a glider.
Yeah, but that he doesn't sit on. He, like, hangs from.
He hangs from it, called the trapeze. And I'm like, oh, that's funny, you know, because he's an acrobat. Ah, the great trapeze, daring do, ha 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 ha. Funny joke that, again, it's like, that looks weird to see Dick Grayson flying around on what is basically a Green Goblin glider.
Yeah, and it looks even weirder because, again, he's not sitting on top of it. He's just hanging, right, and just like gliding around. And it looks super weird. A
lot of people called it a Fortnite glider, and I'm like, fuck off, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yep.
I hate that you're right. I hate that you're onto something. And Red Hood, of course, Mr. I fight with guns, I'm grim and dark, look at my magical sparkles as I jump through the air.
Yeah, apparently the reasoning is so stupid that, like, the Lazarus Pit gave him superpowers, which is teleportation.
Yes. You know, famed magic user Jason Todd.
Yes.
Level 15 wizard Jason Todd. And I'm like, oh, this doesn't match your aesthetic at all.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't come up with something like, he got something from one of the Outlaws or something, or
something, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a fucking flying skateboard because he's so hardcore.
Yeah, a motorcycle or something, you know.
We do see him in a motorcycle later, and I'm like, see, that's cool. Can his motorcycle fly, maybe?
Yeah.
Rocket boots.
Yeah, just something like that.
A jetpack. He's got a goddamn Star-Lord jetpack.
Yeah.
Which is one of those things where it's like, oh no, if he's got a glider and he's got sparkly jump powers, what about Robin and Batgirl? What do they have?
Oh god, I hate to think. I have to imagine Robin will have the grapple hook.
You would think so,
and
yeah.
And Batgirl, I don't know, flying wheelchair or something, I don't know.
Flying wheelchair? I hate that you're almost onto something where they're like, damn it, he knows about the wheelchair.
You know what I'm sure it'll be something like, when she learned to walk again. I wonder if they'll do like, you know, the thing she's got in the comics, that spine thingy.
Yeah.
Makes her like jump high or something, you know.
Or something.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't rip off Spider-Man. It's like, they just got wings, you know. They do the thing and they get a wingsuit that like gets them in an updraft or something.
That would make more sense to be that would be something that would be something that a Bat family character would have.
And also something Batman kind of already did in Arkham City when he was flying around, because you could wingsuit your way around.
You would think that they'd be like, oh, well, Lucius Fox or Luke Fox developed something for them.
Yeah, man, to think the Suicide Squad, who has even less reason to be able to travel around the city the way they do, makes more sense in that Suicide Squad game, where it's just like, yeah, we gave him super speed because he's a Flash villain, and we gave him a fucking jetpack because why not?
Yeah, it all makes sense. And yeah, the boomerang stuff is similar to this, but like at least it's like in the realm of like, oh, he's a Flash villain, so he has like a super speed. Like it's related. Where is teleportation related to Red Hood?
To Red Hood, yeah, we turned Jason into fucking Nightcrawler for some reason.
Yeah.
A. Carter helping us out, thank you. I hope WB would get a small group of comic creators and producers for Team Foggy. That gives more flexibility and isn't dependent on one person. Yeah, historically, one person probably shouldn't wield that much power. It's just Foggy is the perfect example of maybe the 1 in a million time it worked.
The problem with that is Marvel actually had that, where they had like a group of comic book people like that include like Bendis, what's his name, Joe Quesada, a bunch of other people, and around the time like Age of Ultron was that, and they quickly disbanded that because it was just ridiculous.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, too much ego. Hey, that's why the Netflix shows don't really gel with the movies that were going on at the time. That's why Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't quite gel in some regards, and why they never brought back the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because a lot of bruised ego and bullshit. So sometimes it is good to have one person to be like, hey, the buck stops with me. You just better hope you pick the right person. It's a hell of a thing. But yeah, so Gotham Knights, weird. The worst part, too, and this one really kicked me in the nads, where it's like, oh, it's only going to be on next-gen consoles, only on PS5 and Xbox Series X. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I can't play it now because I, along with many other people, don't own a next-gen console.
I'm glad it is, just because it means they've seen like what happened to like Cyberpunk and everything. It's like, it'll be fucking terrible if we do it on these last-gen ones. But also, like, I haven't seen anything that makes me go, wow, that did need to be on next-gen.
Exactly. I'm glad you said it. I'm like, wait, so you mean to tell me I can play fucking Elden Ring on my PS4 and it chugs a little bit when there's multiple characters on screen, but yet I cannot play the Batman Gotham Knights game? It just cannot. The technology just is not there.
Yeah, if it was something that looked like it needed it, then yeah, I could understand. But this, it doesn't look like it. Again, as we said, it feels incredibly dated.
It does. Also, they swear up and down that this isn't going to be a microtransaction fest, but look at all the gear pieces and all the stats, and look at all the unlockable skins, and I'm like, oh, you're going to nickel and dime us every step of the way on that, aren't you?
Yeah. I do like that there is some sort of customization here.
Likewise.
Again, it all feels quite dated. Like the menu that we saw and everything looks very like early
Destiny.
2010s. Like around the time Arkham Knight was coming out.
Yeah, again, it looks like it's like this game has been in development for how long, and you haven't done anything new yet. Okay.
Yep.
It feels like you might have rested on your laurels a little bit, where it's like, it's Batman, people will buy it. People will get it. And speaking of, hey, it's Batman, people will have to buy it. We also got the first poster for the Gotham Knights TV show, which is the same name but is not related.
No.
We just like the name, I guess.
And it has a similar story to the game. It is not related. It's completely different, developed by completely different people.
Just happens to be very similar. In a world where Batman is dead and or missing, a group of new young heroes will need to rise to the occasion to save the city and solve his disappearance/murder.
That sounds like Batwoman.
A little bit, doesn't it?
That's literally the first the season 1 arc of Batwoman. Bruce Wayne is missing and Kate Kane has to find where he is.
Hey, don't worry, I'm the new head of CW. I didn't watch that show and I canceled all the other ones, but I want to keep that sweet superhero money coming in, so I greenlit a bunch of new superhero shows without checking in to see if they were derivative or not.
Yeah, the worst thing about this is it's like, okay, cool. This could be kind of cool. It's an actual, like, about the Bat family, all these characters. The problem is it doesn't have any of the original Bat family in it. It's all,
Yeah.
well, first it's a group of like villains' kids.
It is, but then it's also like, oh, we got Harper Row
Yeah.
and Carrie Kelly, and it's like, wait, what? But they exist in different universes in
Yeah.
different eras, and you're putting them all together. What?
And then the main character is the adopted
new
son,
character.
an OC, the adopted son of Bruce Wayne, who is coming to like look for him. Not any of the actual
No.
the actual adopted sons of Bruce Wayne. You know, Tim, Jason, Dick, Damien, his actual son. None of them. No Duke or anything. It's an OC.
What is the OC's name? Because his name is hilarious.
Oh, I don't fucking know. I didn't even bother to take a look.
It's like Asher Hayes or something, so he like doesn't even have Wayne in his name.
Yeah, and again, it's very similar to Batwoman, because then Batwoman became an OC character becoming Batwoman. Not only the other multiple people who have been Batwoman over the year, it's another OC. I don't understand it. Is this like something they do just to get around paying like royalties to people?
I imagine that has to be the case.
Because it's just so terrible.
It's that, or it's just like, total TV writer hubris, where it's like, I need to put my stamp on this. Forget that there's almost 100 years worth of comic book material to draw upon. I need to make this mine.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, this is another thing too, where it's like, okay, so we had the CW superhero universe that we had for years. We had crossovers and crises, and we learned to like it, and it kind of became its own universe that could stand on its own 2 feet. So now you're starting a new CW universe with new rules and new characters, and you expect us to get really involved in this?
Yeah, it's very strange. Just like they had. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense when you think about it, because they had Crisis of Infinite Earths, and that event in the comics actually like got rid of the multiverse.
Yeah.
So like it kind of makes sense for them to like get rid of it here in the TV show.
I'd say Gotham Knights isn't set to last, but I mean, fucking Pennyworth got 2 seasons, so what the hell do I know?
Yeah, well, I think it's even getting a 3rd season, isn't it?
Is it fucking serious?
I have no idea. But yeah, it did get a 2nd season.
You know what? I was putting together a bunch of lists of episodes for Retro Hero Video where we'd have to sit down and do different arcs. And one arc was like, shows I know Matt and I has never seen. I didn't know what the 4th one was going to be. The 4th one is going to be Pennyworth. We're going to watch the first episode of Pennyworth.
It's kind of brilliant you brought that up, because someone brought up in one of my streams the other day the Man-Thing movie. And it's like they made a Man-Thing movie, and apparently it's awful because it's a sci-fi original.
Of course it is. Oh, the chat's helping us out. Turner Hayes is his name. Turner Hayes.
What an awful name.
That sounds like a porn name. I'm Turner Hayes.
That sounds like complete like actual. That's like Hollywood TV writers. Like, we need a cool hip name.
That's like some Barry Block shit. Like, I can't be Barry Berkman. What's your actor name? What's your Hollywood name? You can be whoever you want. I'm Turner Hayes. Turner Hayes. That's very close to Turner and Hooch.
Yeah, but oh my god, like, how do they not? And it's even funnier when you think about it. Like, they've got this show with like all the like villain kids and like kids of like the big heroes. That's literally what that Green Arrow and the Canary show was going to be.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, it was going to be Oliver Queen's daughter and like his son and like the daughter and sons of like other like villains and stuff. So like I wonder if there was any like sort of reworking
we're just gonna
recycle
these scripts. It's free.
Yeah.
Hey, dig those out of the trash and let's just change some names.
Yeah, you have to wonder.
Fuck. But yeah, I'll say so far, not excited about that one.
Yeah. And then Flash has got like season 9, and they've been talking about Beyond season 9 as well. And like what?
As
and
it's
like
the last CW show standing.
Yeah, well, we still got Superman and Lois, which is they guaranteed it's getting another season and gonna be sticking around for a while.
And I guess Stargirl too.
Yeah, and that was actually meant to come out very soon, but they moved it to like the fall, I think. They moved it to the fall and then moved the next season of Flash to next year.
Yeah. Here's hoping Stargirl can finish strong, because I worry about it.
I don't think that's cancelled.
I don't think it's canceled either. I'm just saying after this season, I hope they're careful because they're like, okay, you got to do your last season, now you're done.
Yeah.
You get one more, then we'll cancel you. We're not going to announce that we're going to cancel you now because we still want people to come and watch it.
Yeah. Well, I know. I think people kind of quite like that show. It's a good show.
And it was weird too because like it started on HBO Max and then went to the CW.
No, it was that DC app.
The DC
it was like
universe,
an exclusive, and then it's like, we'll put it on CW because it's kind of tied to all of these other shows now. You know,
what a weird history Stargirl had.
I know. Yeah.
Tell me about it. All right, moving on from there to some comic book news. Deceased 3 coming this summer from Tom Taylor.
Yeah, we kind of knew about this was coming ages ago.
Literally the last one ended with a big, giant to be continued. Hey, isn't Darkseid back and he's a zombie? Sure is. Isn't that going to be bad for the entire universe?
Yep.
Sure is.
Yep.
Come back next time and we'll tell you all about it. And again, I feel like Taylor probably would have done it sooner too, because he's like, "Nah, I'm busy with like 100 other projects. I'll get back to it."
Yeah. My hope for this though is that it's just this series and it's not like when that last series came in, it had like that digital one, and then those, and they had like 2 or 3 like actual like book tie-ins, and they were all right, but like we didn't need them.
They were very unnecessary. It's just like, hey, we got to wring every fucking cent out of this we can.
Yeah, this is the next Injustice.
Basically, every time Taylor comes back and does something, it's like, this is going to be the next Injustice.
Yeah.
And again, it's very good, Deceased, on its own. Deceased, Unkillables, they're all very good. You don't need to wring anymore. Let the stories speak for themselves.
Yes.
Is all we're saying. But yeah, so get excited for that. Spider-Man hits a big milestone this summer as well. It's the 60th anniversary celebration with Amazing Spider-Man Amazing Fantasy, number 1000, because Spider-Man originally started in Amazing Fantasy.
Yeah, a lot of Marvel characters this year are celebrating their 60th anniversary. Hulk and Thor are as well at the moment.
Yes. It's a good time for anniversaries, and to mark the event, it's going to be a big, giant, oversized anthology with like every fucking writer you've ever heard of from the history of Spider-Man and beyond coming back to write something.
Yes, as we've seen with these 1000th issues.
Yes, which I always love reading, but I fucking hate covering.
Yeah, because they're so fucking big.
I'm like, God, this is going to take me all day to read. It's going to be like, take me forever to edit. I'm not going to be able to cover every story. I'm just going to have to cover a couple, and it's like, in the time it takes me to finish this, I could do a bunch more. And again, it's like, do people really care about reviews of anthology books? Because it's like, you're either going to get it or you're not.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a thing. But yeah, excited for it.
Yeah.
Excited for it. Definitely going to have to check that one out. Now, from Spider-Man news to Batman comic news, to celebrate Batman Day and just Batman in general, they've decided to come out with a new special, I don't even know what would you call a special rollout of one-shot stories from Superstar creators focusing on Batman villains. It's going to be called Batman One Bad Day. Yeah,
they realized that they hadn't had a Batman announcement in 30 seconds, so they needed to quickly announce something.
Something right quick, man. You know, for all the trouble and all the shit I will give DC for relying too much on Batman and every new series being a Batman book, I will also freely admit that I am part of the problem, because when I look at the creative teams they've united for this, I'm like, yeah, I want to read that. I want to read that too.
Like they keep like in this last week's comics, they were advertising that Batman Fortress, and I'm like, I'm like, fucking another Batman book. I'm like, yeah, but the premise sounds fucking awesome. Who they've got writing it sounds fucking awesome.
Likewise, too, when I read that, I'm like, I don't want to read Batman Fortress. I'm like, yeah, but it might be good, though. I have a list here, too, of all the creative teams you can expect going into this series, and there's some pretty friggin' good ones.
There is, yeah.
First up, we got a Riddler one-shot by Tom King. This will be Tom King's first time writing the Riddler since War of Jokes and Riddles.
Oh, God, he's going to continue that story. I just know
it. One way or another.
I just know it.
They make a solid point, though, showing that he is not Mutton Shop Riddler, nor is he podcaster Mustache Riddler.
Oh, I like the podcaster Mustache Riddler.
He fucking looks like Gavin McGinnis. He just became Gavin McGinnis, the leader of the Proud Boys.
We got Gavin, and then in last week's Nightwing beat up Tucker Carlson.
Oh, did he? I missed that part.
One of the
Was that
guys that he unmasked that were destroying
man.
Haven looked like Tucker Carlson.
Right. See, I pay that guy so little mind I didn't even notice. But yeah, that makes sense. We got a Two-Face story from Mariko Tamaki. You and I really like Mariko Tamaki's stories. Don't love the endings, though.
Yeah.
This is a one-shot, though, so hopefully we'll get all the good stuff in there. More power to her, too, because I feel like no one has written an interesting Two-Face story in, like, a decade.
I quite like that Tomasi one that he did just before Mariko took over the book in Detective.
It was pretty good, but then the Court of Owls and Joker hijacked at the end.
Yeah.
All of his stories, like, start good and then get hijacked or, like, go unfinished. It's a real shame.
Yeah.
Well, here's hoping it's a story all about him, so here's hoping it can actually be meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
We got Penguin by John Ridley, which is the most unexpected.
Yeah, that's going to be quite fun. I wonder if he'll have Jace Fox in the book.
Apparently the story, judging by the solicitations, this is a story about a penguin who gets ousted as, like, the top gang boss in Gotham by another villain with a similar gimmick called the Umbrella Man. So it's just like, it's like Cobblepot sitting on a bench all sad and shit. He's not even wearing a tuxedo. And I'm like, that's interesting. What would the Penguin be if he wasn't a gangster?
Yeah.
I kind of like that setup. I'd be interesting to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Freeze by Jerry Duggan. Awesome. This is actually the first time Freeze will be coming back since his own wife put him on ice.
Yeah. Again, Tomasi's run.
Yes, I wonder if these stories are in canon or not. They don't seem to say outright if they're canon or not.
They'll probably play fast and loose with them, yeah.
Probably. But yeah, I'm interested in that. We got Bane by Joshua Williamson, and Joshua Williamson wrote a great Bane. Yeah,
and this probably will be tied up to what he did with Infinite Frontier and everything.
Maybe. I'm interested to see where that one will go. Catwoman by G. Willow Wilson, which means, okay, I'm officially going to pick up a Catwoman book now.
Yeah. Catwoman not all written by Tom King, so it should be damn good.
Yeah, G. Willow Wilson doesn't write new superhero comics every day, so it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Apparently this one is about Selina trying to steal back a brooch that belonged to her mother that's being sold as some sort of, like, estate sale.
Mm-hmm.
So it's personal, you know?
Nice.
It's not just regular thievery, it's personal. We got a Clayface story from Kelly and Lanzig.
That'll be interesting. Again, going back to, like, canon, because Clayface was the villain in that Dark Crisis issue 0.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And in
Basil Karlo?
I believe so, yeah.
Right, the good redeemed one who we haven't seen since the end of Tynan's years.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Apparently this story involves, like, Basil Karlo going to Hollywood again.
Oh, nice.
Trying to restart his career, and I'm like, right on.
Nice.
It's like, yeah, man, you can be anything and be anyone. They
need to make him like
a
TikToker or an influencer.
Yes, that'd be funny.
He's really good at impressions.
It's like, come on, man, movies are getting so expensive now with special effects and, like, CGI and everything. You can become whatever the movie needs you to become.
Dude, that'd be such a cool... He becomes, like stuntman, like...
Yeah.
Like a walking special effect. There's like, we need this actor. Okay, he'll just be him, and they just, like, throw him off cliffs and shit. And because he can't die because he's, like, made of clay and shit.
Yeah, like, how has no one told that story yet? You are a walking special effect, and you're a semi-famous actor, too.
Yeah.
There's so much they can do, and it's like, oh, well, they can't take him back into Hollywood because he has a criminal record. Have you checked most celebrities and the criminal records they have?
Make that, like, the running joke.
Yeah. Where it's like, look, if they can forgive Marky Mark for committing hate crimes, if they can forgive Robert Downey Jr. for his drunken, drug-fueled anarchy there for a few years.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they can forgive him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they can. Then we got a Rachel Ghoul story, also by Tom King. Goddamn, how did Tom King get 2 stories?
That one's actually by Tom Taylor.
Oh, is that? See, the website I got it from wrote it wrong.
And it's probably the website that they actually were making fun of the other day, because they always get like switched.
Right. Okay, that makes much more sense. Yeah, Tom Taylor, Rachel Ghoul story. Sign me the fuck up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty good mixture of writers and characters. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Pretty damn good. From Batman to Superman, Perry White is going to be getting a brand new series from Matt Fraction that looks to be a spiritual sequel to that Jimmy Olsen book that you loved so much.
Yeah, I think it's full titles like Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen's boss, Perry White.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it when they do jokes like that. You'll have to tell me all about this one. I know you love that Fraction series.
Yeah, oh, it was so good. So good.
I love that Fraction is just such a well-respected writer who doesn't write superhero stuff as much anymore, but when he does, he gets to write whatever he wants, like fucking Perry White.
Yeah.
Like, he comes to them and it's like, I would like to write a Perry White series, and DC's like, okay, cool, just, keep writing stuff for us.
Yeah. Well, that Jimmy Olsen book won Eisner's.
I know it did. In fact, we'll be talking about the Eisners later on.
Yeah.
Venom is going to be getting a new villain called Sleeper Agent.
Cool. Whatever.
I only wrote this down because remember the last time we talked about Venom getting a new villain, it was Virus, who turned out to be nobody.
Yeah. But that was a really cool concept. It was only like a small part of a larger story.
Yeah, like everyone bought that issue. It was all over Free Comic Book Day because they thought it was going to be the next big villain. It was going to be worth a lot of money. And it ended up just being fucking Matt Gargan in a different hat.
Yeah.
In fact, the book takes a big old shit all over him and how stupid Virus is. And I'm like, oh man, is this Donny Cates actually like making fun of people who buy comics just to turn a profit on them? It sure felt that way.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And maybe Sleeper Agent will be the same. You gotta imagine with a name like Sleeper Agent and his color scheme looks similar to Sleeper, so is this just Sleeper in a different hat?
Probably.
Is
that for the actual the Venom book though? Yeah, it'll be some multiversal alternates
time travel-y
version of the character, yeah.
Because that's what the book basically is now.
Yeah, some anti-god or something.
Yeah, I fall in and out of love with that, like, Rom V. Al Ewing Venom book, though I did read the last 2 issues, and it was about, like, a biker war in San Bernardino, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty good.
See, I liked that I liked that sort of status quo change for Venom just because it was quite interesting and kept building off of what Donny Cates was doing. But yeah, I just kind of fell off with it. I'm like, okay, yeah, everything's like multiverse now, so... Yeah,
it's not special anymore.
No.
The real Manos, Clayface, and Amber Hood in a Woody Allen film. Yeah, Clayface can get away with it. It's like, yeah, I'm the only one who's, he's a bigger criminal than me. See, look. Yeah, they just make a joke about being like, sure, Clayface, he fought Batman, tried to take over the city, but at least he's not Woody Allen. Trust me, there's way bigger villains in Hollywood. You're not near as bad here, asshole. Oh, man. Again, how has no one done that pitch? That pitch is fucking money.
Oh, again, you know what it is? It's the Fall Guy, but with Clayface.
Yes.
The Fall Guy, for people who don't know, was like a 1970s, 80s TV show where it was like about a stuntman who like would literally take the fall for people and like go to jail and like solve crimes and shit. It was great.
Damn. Yeah, do the Fall Guy with Clayface. Oh my god, hell, that's how you turn Clayface into a hero and give him a solo series. He's the hero of Hollywood. He fights, like, all the corrupt, like, skeevy old men and everything of Hollywood. And he's gonna clean up this town, damn it, as only a creepy monster can. Oh, and he's gonna empower the young indie filmmakers out there to follow their dreams. Oh my god, and he's like an old monster movie holdover and shit. Oh my god. Matt, I think we wrote an Eisner book right here.
Can we get this in the next round, Robin?
Fuck yes, please, can we? and then we'll be sure to manipulate the vote so we win.
Yeah. We'll promise that there'll be a Robin in the book, and then that'll get it voted in, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, Tim Drake goes and teams up with him because he ain't doing sweet fuck all else in any other Batman book. He's like, yeah, I decided to go to Hollywood and hang out with Clayface because why not? I mean, technically they were on that Detective Comics team together, so why not?
Yeah.
Now, again, we were talking about Eisners, and with that, the nominations for 2022 actually came out this week.
Yes, they did.
Some of our favorites that were killing it in all the nominations. Nightwing from Tom Taylor got 5 nominations.
Absolutely warranted. Absolutely.
again, it's just a book that, everyone loves. It speaks primarily to comic fans, and also the fact that comic fans fucking love Nightwing.
Yeah, yeah.
Beta Ray Bill got the nomination for Best Limited Series. It should probably win.
It should. It was my best of last year. I fucking loved that book.
Yep. I mean, I think it definitely catapulted Daniel Warren Johnson to that next level of fame and acclaim in the industry.
Yeah.
And everyone just agreed it's really good and just told a nice story. Bitterroot from David F. Walker got Best Ongoing. I think they're still making that into a show. I'm not sure, but good for David F. Walker.
I do believe I read the first issue of this, and I gotta go. I plan on doing a video on it because it was really good. It was really interesting. It's about monster hunters and
steampunk.
Yeah, it's so fucking cool.
In the jazz era and everything, and I'm like, oh, this is just a good mix of shit I like.
Yeah.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, got a bunch of nominations too. I know we just shat on Tom King there for a little bit, but from what I understand, this is one of the best ones he's written.
When he writes the Superman family, he is just amazing. It's every other character that he writes is just garbage. Like, I'm surprised that Human Target book just didn't get nominated just because,
Just because he did it.
Yeah. Like in past years that's happened. How it's like, why does that get nominated? Why is it's a crap issue?
Like when his Batman run in Heroes in Crisis got nominated, and we're like, come the fuck on.
Yeah. Or that Strange Adventures book, which it started out good, but then it just devolved into like the story he tells in every book he writes.
I think the shine came off him in years past. He's not like, the golden child that they were just going to give it to because.
No.
Radiant Black got the nom for Best New Series. Hey, big ups to friend of the channel, Kyle Higgins there. I got to actually go back and keep reading Radiant Black because it got even bigger now.
Yeah, it's got tie-ins and events.
The whole universe.
Yeah.
It's the supermassive universe. It's a whole fucking thing. I got to go back and read it. Bunch of our favorite writers that just got nominations too. Kelly Sue DeConnick, Ram V, James Tynan, who didn't get it for any of his superhero stuff, but for all of his indie stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. And Ed Brubaker, of course.
Yes.
So there you go. There's your Eisner noms, everyone. I'm sure when the winners are actually announced, Matt and I will come back and talk about the winners.
Definitely. When do they get announced?
Good question. Truth be told, I never know. I just wait for Twitter to tell me.
Yeah, I just, like, one day I'll see someone holding an Eisner and be like, oh, the Eisners were tonight.
Yeah, hey, good for them. Yeah, usually Twitter is quick to tell us. Yeah, let's look at that right now. Eisner Awards 2022.
Has to be very soon because they're announcing the nominations.
Yeah, because with the power of the internet, you never need to wonder. July 22nd at San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
So in July we'll know.
Nice.
Yes, in July we'll know all about it. All right, I guess with that done and out of the way, we can hop into what we read this week. It feels like it's been a bit since we've done this between weeks off and movies and everything.
It has been, yeah.
It has been, so we can talk about what we read this week. Again, lighter week this week, which I'm thankful for because I was actually able to catch up on some stuff.
Yeah, same. I caught up on a couple of books as well.
Yeah, where would you like to begin, Matt?
Let's begin with, what did I read this week? Let me just get my list. World's Finest, issue 3.
Yes, I just finished that before we started.
Yeah, again, really fun issue.
Beautiful looking comic. I like that Mark Waid isn't afraid that it's a Batman Superman book to actually focus on other characters.
Yeah, we have like the World's Finest in Batman Superman, and then we have like a sub World's Finest team, which is like Robin and Supergirl, and then we have just the Doom Patrol.
Just the Doom Patrol having an adventure, which feels very Doom Patrol. I'm like, how has Mark Waid never written a full Doom Patrol run? I think he'd be good at it.
This is the back pilot, you know?
It really, really is, because they're like, okay, we need to help Batman and Superman find out about the Devil Neez-Ha, so let's go ask General Immortus, because he's old enough, he probably met him at some point, and oh no, General Immortus has Alzheimer's.
Yeah, he's an immortal man with Alzheimer's. That's awful.
How very Doom Patrol, though, where it's like, we thought we were going to have a superhero adventure, but that's just fucking sad and tragic.
Yeah, it's run-of-the-mill for us.
Yeah, he doesn't remember us, but he remembers Monsieur Mallah. Well, you'd remember a gorilla who talks with a Gatling gun, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ravages of the brain can't do that in. But yeah, we get that. We get Robin and Supergirl basically getting beaten down by the cast of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, by all the masters of the different elements: the water, the fire, the earth, the wind.
Weapons. Just a guy with weapons.
Yeah, yeah.
And eventually Superman and Batman figure out, oh crap, this devil guy sure seems to know a lot about us and hero kind. Like, he keeps playing tricks on us that he shouldn't be able to. He knows who all our villains are and how to empower them. He remembered that Wonder Woman is made of clay.
Yes, which is why he sent Dr. Alchemy after her.
And I'm like, fuck, that's a good like piece of writing there. How have they never done anything with that before?
Yeah, yeah.
That's really goddamn solid.
Yeah, he sent Mirror Master after Flash and took him into like a void, like using Mirror Master as like, oh, if Mirror Master stopped fucking around and actually like was an actual threat.
If he was smart, and the devil is, basically able to make the villains smart.
Yeah.
And it's not just the villains either, because hey, if he can empower villains and make them act against their own self-interest, oh shit, the devil can do it for heroes too.
Yeah, and he takes control of Hal Jordan.
Damn it, Hal.
Yeah, and Hal ends up capturing Batman and Superman, and we learn how Nezra is getting all this, and it's because he's taken control of Alfred.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Alfred's got the Wikipedia open.
Yep, he's got superhero Google up. It is just checking all the frequently asked questions.
Yep.
Damn it, that's why you gotta put parental blocks on that, Batman. gotta keep him out. But yes, very fun. I would have liked to have learned a little bit more about the Devil Nisha, because I think he's the devil, is what he's just the devil.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's just like an immortal warrior who, basically just became the devil.
It's like, I get it. He's not supposed to be like an interesting villain. He's supposed to be an all-encompassing villain who can tie all this shit together.
I keep comparing this comic to like a Saturday morning cartoon, and that's what he is. He's a Saturday morning cartoon villain.
He really, really is. This is totally like Wade is tapping into an era in superhero stories we don't really get anymore.
Yeah. Even his design is like, that looks like an action figure.
He looks like a He-Man villain.
Yeah.
He looks like he could be hanging out with Skeletor and shit.
Yeah.
That's very apt, Matt. I think you fucking nailed it. This is world's finest, the Saturday morning era, just, with Mora's artwork turned up all the way to 11.
Yep.
Which is good, because, I feel like, again, that's something we lose in comic books, where everything is trying to be like this cerebral, saga epic.
It's like, every now and then we just like, our heroes just to like fight villains and have fun and be swashbuckling heroes and whatnot. It's
like, I like a steak dinner, because it's good for me and nice and tasty, but sometimes, I just want a double quarter pounder with cheese. This is the quarter pounder and cheese of comics. Another big one we had this week. Savage Avengers #1 from David Papoys. Again, fan of the show and friend of the show. Holy shit.
Yes.
Which I didn't even know this was his first big, like, Marvel, headline thing.
Yeah.
I could have sworn he did more, because he just seems like such a superstar in my mind. I'm like, really? This was your first?
Yeah.
And fucking hit it out of the park, I would say.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I read it not yesterday, day before, and I just still got to do my review on it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It does so many things that I wish more team books would do. Mainly that the whole team gets assembled in one issue, and we don't have to draw it out and wait for everyone to come in, which feels like a bad habit every new team book does now.
And it helps as well that a lot of these characters we've seen recently. So it was like, okay, we know what their deal is. We know what Elektra's deal is. We know what Flash Thompson's up to. We know Conan was the only holdover from the previous team. Yeah, we've got them all here. Deathlock, he's been in Avengers. Get them all together and let's fuck just shit up. Go. The only person we haven't seen in a while is what's his name? The big Hulk guy.
Weapon H.
Weapon H, yeah.
Which, man, I was so ready to shit on Weapon H, and then I realized, oh fuck, he's got my haircut and my beard. Shit, I guess he's pretty cool.
He's like a slightly more kept Logan.
Yeah, a little bit. He's cool. Again, Papoys remembers that, Black Knight, didn't his daughter become Black Knight in that series, and wasn't there a whole thing? Good job on remembering everyone's continuity.
Yeah.
Most other writers might not give a shit and just like go in on it, but you clearly took the extra time to make sure to honor what literally just happened with them.
Yep.
Great deep cut too, where it's like, oh, Conan's fighting another snake cult because it's a day that ends in Y. Of course, he's fucking up a snake cult.
Yeah. So always those damn fucking snake cults.
Everywhere he goes, every dimension cannot get away from them. And they've stolen a mad bomb, which is a reference to 70s Captain America, where I'm like, hey, good job.
Yeah, and they intend to set off because people are going crazy.
It brings out your darker inner side. It activates your rage, but it doesn't do it for any of the heroes on the team because they battle their inner rage all the time. And that's the one thing that brings all these radically different characters together. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, actually. That's a clever idea.
Pretty smart, yeah.
It also explains why Agent Venom becomes his old anti-Venom thing for a second.
Yep.
Which is a question you and I were both asking. Like, well, how the hell does that work? Okay, good answer. That's how that works. Fair enough. And the big twist at the end is they all end up getting transported back to the
Hyperion Age.
Hyperion Age. Yeah, the Hyperion Age. The weapons manufacturer from Borderlands. Yeah, the Hyborian Age, where I guess that was Conan's thing for his series in Savage Avengers. He wanted to get home, and now he finally is, but he brought a bunch of Avengers with him.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen now, because...
Likewise.
Again, like, the Hyborian Age, again, more snake cults. Weird. I guess I'm intrigued to see how they're going to be able to do, like, Conan villains, because are Conan villains covered under the Marvel thing, or do they go into that other stuff, or
Conan kills a lot of his villains, or are they able to use it? I know when I talked to Jim Zub, I'm like, hey, when are they going to bring up Thulsa Doom again? Because he's in the movie, only for him to tell me, Marvel doesn't own Thulsa Doom.
Yeah, that's the next thing. Who will take that place of Thulsa Doom?
Yeah, who can they do? Because Marvel used to do Conan comics, then they didn't, and then there's stuff from books that was adapted. It's a whole twisted web they weave.
Yeah.
But still, looks pretty cool. I'm excited for it, and also it makes more sense now. Where it's like, well, what's Black Knight gonna do? As a sword guy on the team, you already have a sword guy. Oh, you've gone to the land of sword and sorcery. Okay, you're gonna be basically doing Dungeons and Dragons adventures, fighting giant monsters and bandits and everything.
I will put money on the fact that that Black Knight will at one point use Conan's Atlantean sword.
Oh fuck! Or the other way around, like they trade swords, they throw them back and forth.
So they have to do that.
That's gonna be fucking. Elektra's gonna be a cool rogue ninja who's gonna sneak in behind enemy lines and everything. Agent Venom and Deathlock are gonna blow people away because they have fucking guns, which they don't have.
But that's gonna be interesting because he'll run out of ammo.
Yes, but he can like make weapons and shit, and Deathlock's from the future, so he is a weapon.
That's true, yeah.
Again, it's a good mix. This feels like something that like lives in the heart of every 13-year-old like comic fan. Where it's like, and then they fight the dragon, and then they do the thing. Yeah,
I know you haven't been reading the Avengers book, but I'm intrigued that Deathlock is here just because in the Avengers book, the multiversal Masters of Evil and Mephisto were hunting the Deathlocks because the Deathlocks had a message from Avenger Prime from the future. For the Avengers in regards to like the big events that's coming.
Oh wow, and we know this Deathlock is definitely from the future because there's been like 12 different guys who have been Deathlocked.
Yeah, well they actually, like in that Avengers book, they sent like a whole group of Deathlocks back into the past.
Is this going to be part of like that timeless thing? Because they made a big point of being like, oh, Conan must be punished for time crimes because he's fucking up the timeline just by being here.
Again, yeah, maybe, and I'm intrigued just because, like, in I think it was the last Avengers issue, the Avengers Forever, like, all of the Deathloks were killed except for, I think, the one that was with Robbie Reyes on, like, Earth, whatever, but yeah, the whole thing there was, like, they were hunting all of the Deathloks and trying to kill them all before they could warn the Avengers of what's coming.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder.
Maybe this is just, like, just a normal Deathlock, not from the future.
Maybe. But again, they're showing that Deathlock is important again for some reason.
Yeah.
Which makes me think they wouldn't do that if they weren't building up to something.
Yeah.
I had Batman The Knight this week, number 5.
Mm-hmm.
You read this one?
I haven't yet, no.
Ah, that's a shame. This is super cool. This is the story of how Batman learned to be a master of disguise in Russia.
Oh, nice.
And here's the funny thing, Bruce sucks at being a master of disguise, actually. He cannot play a character to save his life.
He's always just Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, essentially, and Zdarsky zeroes in on this idea where it's like, yeah, Bruce has a hard time creating characters, but don't worry, though, because as we all know, Playboy Bruce Wayne is the greatest character he ever created.
I always like that that idea that like Bruce really is like really shit at like being someone else, but like that's his whole thing.
Yes.
I kind of like that idea where like yeah, whenever he's Bruce Wayne, he's acting as someone else. It's his greatest disguise, but he doesn't kind of realize that.
His disguise teacher even calls him out on it, where it's like, you know what, you're a rich, privileged kid, and in my experience, privileged people can't become masters of disguise because they've grown up having everything they've ever wanted. They can't imagine what it's like to want stuff. So when you're disguising, you're doing a magic trick, you're doing, misdirection, you're trying to give that person what they want to become it, and you can't do it.
Yep.
Which is cool. Also, Anton, his ninja buddy, is sticking around with him, too, and also trying to be a master of disguise. And he's really good at it, but he's really, like, morally corrupt about it.
Oh, okay.
So he's, like, bribing people, sleeping with people, just, like, doing everything without a care in the world. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is also kind of a theme of this story, too. Batman wants to be a master of everything, but he doesn't want to cross his moral lines because all of these masters he's trained with, they're all the best in the world at something, but they're all kind of shitty people, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all manipulative and they use
morally
him
compromised.
Yeah.
It's this idea where Batman's like, I think it's like very baked into the story where Batman's like, no, my journey is to become the best and then actually use those skills for the betterment of the world, because what's the point of being the best at something if you don't help people?
Yep.
And I'm like, wow, that's really beautiful, actually. Holy shit.
It's really good, yeah.
It's really good. The Batman the Knight continues to be awesome, and like, to think I almost didn't read it because I'm like, fuck it, I don't want another Batman origin story.
I know, right? I know, but like, yeah, again, Zdarsky, and he's writing the new Batman book coming out, and yeah,
I know, it's like it shouldn't work, and yet it fucking works.
Yeah, it's great.
It's also something where it's like, man, this could be adapted. Like, this could be a sick animated movie. This could be like a great TV series, Batman the Knight, like a mini.
It really is and again, it's something that's like fresh in Batman's history because it's something we don't really see. We just get told about.
Yeah, when was the last time a Batman origin felt fresh?
Yeah, long time.
Yeah, feels like it's been freaking forever. What else did you have, Matt?
I had the final issue of Suicide Squad issue 15.
Yes. The book that I was loving and then dropped off on because of the crossover. How did it end, though? Did it end strong at least?
It did. At least read these last two issues because it's like a 2-issue story, which it does admittedly feel like they were planning to go further with it, but got cut short.
They probably did.
But it's a really fun issue. So in the issue before, in issue 14, they intended to kidnap Lex Luthor in order to ransom him for money. So they have money to fund the Suicide Squad that's now run by Rick Flag. And this issue is just them completely fucking up all of their plans to try and get him. So it's really great. They like assemble like the group and they like get all of Bloodsport's multiversal brothers to go and like they get one to go and work at LexCorp, and then he brings in all of his brothers, and because they all look the same, they all dress the same, so they cover the entire building, and then the squad all try and like take Lex at different points, so like match and ambush the new Match clone that they stole, which is really cool because he's a Match clone that looks like the Bizarro from the Superboy 1980s TV show, like the really angular face and everything.
Oh, fun.
They try and take Lex, but he's got like anti-Kryptonian security measures.
Naturally.
Bloodsport and Rick Flag try and take him on a boat, but the boat has like tentacle security things that like grab him and capture him. Rodriguez and her sand form try and do it, but they get like sucked up in like a vacuum thing that he has. And we find out that he's actually captured them all and like he's like keeping them in LexCorp Tower. And he's actually kind of impressed that they were trying to come for him, and they're like, I'm actually kind of impressed that you just didn't come to me and ask for money, because like, I mean, I I wouldn't mind like a Black Ops team,
Yeah, of
on
course.
the books. But he's like, but I don't want you losers. I want someone else. But we find out that this was all part of Rick Flag's plan to get close to Lex, because they have Calibra possess him. Because Calibra's the ghost, and she possesses Lex, and and tries to get into his bank accounts, but Lex fights back because Lex has like conditioned his mind, because of course he has, against like mind control, and he ends up fighting
And
them,
also
and he's
just that greedy.
yeah, he ends up fighting them in his big war suit and Mirror Master, and as soon as he sees this, he's like, I'm out, goodbye.
Naturally.
Yeah, and Lex picks apart the team, but he's like, I respect you for like, coming at me, that takes some balls, so I'll give you the money, and I'll keep you under my thumb, and we'll call you Task Force Lex now.
15 issues just to get to that joke.
Yeah. And but yeah, it ends at a point where I feel like, you could probably do more with this story.
They probably wanted to. That probably would have been the next volume, them working for Lex.
I would like to see the team return somewhere, and they're still working for Lex, but we're getting Dark Crisis, so probably not going to happen.
Yeah, everything's going to get wiped away. We'll get another Suicide Squad book when the next Suicide Squad movie comes out.
Yeah, but these last two issues were quite fun. They were heavy on the humor, and they remembered that like at the start of this run, it was all about like losers and just like they never got a win or anything. And here at the end, they got a win, but it's not, again, in classic Suicide Squad fashion, not the win they were looking for, and maybe it'll come back to bite them in the ass, but they got a win.
Even when they win, they lose.
Yeah.
You know what it's going to be? I bet if we see Suicide Squad again, it's going to be when Peacemaker Season 2 comes out, and it's going to be Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad.
I wouldn't mind that. I
wouldn't mind it either.
I like what they did in these last two issues, where they paired Ambush Bug with Peacemaker, and that was this great. Peacemaker is like straight edge, and then you've got fucking Ambush Bug,
who's just fucking Ambush Bug.
Yeah.
I like it too. Yeah, I might have to check out those last two issues. Those do actually sound pretty fun.
Yeah.
You know what else was fun this week? Nightwing 92.
It was, yeah.
Captain Coon helping us out one more time. Lex Luthor, you suck, but I respect the hustle.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he was the whole issue.
The moral of the story: you suck, but I mean,
you guys are terrible. And he was like making fun of Peacemaker. He's like, he's fucking Peacemaker. Who's fucking wears a chrome toilet seat on his head?
What a loser. He's acting like he has a really popular TV show or something, and a great dance.
Played by a really charismatic actor,
Yeah, tell me about it. One of the few wrestlers able to cross over into the world of acting. But yeah, so Nightwing 92, Dick finally opens his big Haven initiative that he's been working on since this Tom King run began.
Yeah, and Bruce comes by with Ace to check out the area.
That's fun. Do you think they have to reestablish Ace because of that Super Pets movie?
Probably, but Ace looks different here than he does in that film.
I know he does, yeah.
He doesn't look like Kevin Hart.
Doesn't look like Kevin Hart in dog form. Which, good for him, because I think that would be animal abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dick's got a big statue of Alfred that he's showing off, and Bruce is like, he would hate that, and Dick's like, I know, but it's not just for me or for you, it's for everybody.
Yeah, that was good. It was. We got that great part at the start as well, where we see like the blackout in Gotham, and how Dick went and like just leapt into danger, and he saved a person, but he got himself hurt, and Alfred, again, I like in recent years they've made it so that Alfred is a bit more standoffish with Bruce, and like calling him on his shit, because that Robin and Batman book that happened recently by Jeff Lemire did that like in every issue, and it was great.
Yeah, Alfred really goes to bat for young Dick and says, they're like, hey, don't you punish him, don't you scold him. I know you were worried about him, but like this is an important moment in his life. He really does think he can save everyone, and maybe one day he will.
Yes.
And that's basically the whole point behind Haven, where Dick thinks he can save everyone. Also, I felt so stupid for realizing, oh, wait, Haven, it's a word for a safe place for everyone. And also, the city he's in is called Bloodhaven. So it's Haven minus all the blood.
Yes.
I feel so dumb for not putting that together for, like, multiple issues. If only Bloodhaven could be better, without the blood, just the Haven part. And Blockbuster's there, and he's waving his dick around, and trying to be like, "Ooh, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you."
Yeah. I like as well that they're still using Melinda Zuko, she's like helping Dick, but then also she has to hinder him as well because she's like the mayor. And she's like, filing all these like injunctions against it and all and everything. But then also telling him, "Hey, Blockbuster's sending assassins after you" and all that. That's kind of cool.
It is a fun relationship, and it's like, man, is he ever going to catch on, Blockbuster, that one of his own people is clearly leaking info to Grayson?
Yeah, or if he does, I imagine she'll try and frame that commissioner, because he seems like a bit of a coward.
Yes, McLean there, who his whole deal is it looked like he was catching on to it, and because the shit rolls downhill, and it's like, the colorful costume assassins aren't taking my calls anymore, so all right, McLean, you're up, you and your dirty cops go in at night and fuck up Haven, and they of course fail spectacularly.
Dick knew they were gonna come for him, so he ends up taking them all down and then getting all of their identities.
Which is great, so he can out them as being dirty cops and clean up the Bloodhaven Police Department all at the same time.
I also like it like when he was debuting Haven and Blockbuster was there, and how Blockbuster's, it'd be a shame if you came to the podium and someone was to shot you in front of all these kids. It's like, I'm not the one doing it. Superman is. Superman's here. You're not going to do anything.
Love the connective tissue, because obviously Dick has been mentoring John over in his own book, and John shows up now to be like, you're not going to take a fucking shot at Superman.
Not only that, but like that's like good optics for Superman from what he's going through. Like, he's helping the community and everything while like people are trying to like frame him for murder and everything.
And he says Flash Wally is running around the perimeter too to make sure nothing happens. A fan brought up something really great in the comments section, and they're like, "Wow, so you mean to tell me Gotham could be this nice too if Bruce just accepted help from his friends the same way Dick is?"
That's what I thought when I was like reading it. I'm like, wow, like you compare this, like this is why I like that whole like Superman Nightwing team up, where you've got Dick, where he's accepting of all of this help. He has friends like Wally and John and everything who will come and bat for him and help, and like Bruce has that, but he refuses to get help.
He always refuses to ask for help because that's a real problem of his. It's a really interesting dynamic that they're playing with, isn't it? And even in the battle with the dirty cops, Oracle's like, you can call Wally, right? Or you could call John, and they could like clean them up in 10 seconds. It's like, but no, I want them to fear me, though. I want them to know that Haven is under my personal protection. It's good stuff. And Blockbuster finally at his final straw, where it's like, well, my assassins didn't work, my henchmen didn't work, my dirty cops didn't work, fuck, I have no one left. Only for Heartless to finally show up.
And propose a team up, and he apparently was in that in the park, and he saw Blockbuster with Dick, and it made me go back to those pages and think, I know Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo, they put him in there, that he's one of those. And I noticed that guy that Dick saved, that like homeless,
the old guy from his building,
the homeless father. No, not the deaf guy. That homeless. It was in one of the first issues he wrote.
Right.
That homeless guy and his kid. His kid went missing or something.
Yeah.
He was there, and I'm thinking, is that just because it's Haven or thing, or is he heartless?
That's very interesting. Now I'm gonna go back and check. Actually,
because I was like looking for like people who we'd seen before,
recurring faces.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Or it could have always been like Marv Wolfman or George Perez that were in the issue as well, at the taco truck, It's one of those guys.
Oh no, it was Marv Wolfman and George Perez. I mean, they're the last people you would expect.
Exactly, yeah.
No one would have seen it coming. What a shock. That's fun. But yeah, Nightwing continues to be great. You can see why it totally swept the Eisners.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much fun. Every issue feels, again, layered and just rewarding.
Yes.
What else did you have, Matt? I only had one more.
What did I have? I had the continuation of Banner of War.
Yes. I didn't start this because I'm so behind on both Hulk and Thor.
It's so good. It's so good.
Is it?
Yeah. Yes. Banner of War started in like that Alpha issue, which saw Hulk and Thor finally get to fight. We find that Thor found Hulk in like the multiverse when he was traveling through it, and ended up stopping and fighting him because he wants him to answer for the crimes that he committed in El Paso.
Yes. Which are they still a mystery? Do we know what he did yet?
Yes, we learned this issue what he did. So at the end of the first issue, Odin from the hammer actually ends up. It's actually kind of cool. Thor throws the hammer at Hulk and it like hits him in the head, and Odin ends up going into Bruce's mind.
Oh,
and
shit.
he's actually fighting Bruce in the Hulk's mind. And in this issue, we find the Avengers have figured out where Hulk is. He's on the Black Hand of God that we saw in the Thor run.
Yes, set up in Thor. Yes.
They found that there's a great part where like Tony's like, oh yeah, I've got deep space satellites, keep monitoring like unknown space for anything coming, and I heard the sound, and the sound when unpacked it said Hulk smash and everything. and Reed Richards was like, wow, that's really, quite technically adept of you. I didn't think you had the resources or know how to do that sort of stuff. And Tony's like, I actually don't do that. Thor's Ravens just told me that, Yeah, just being a total dick. And because of that first issue of Hulk, where Iron Man was almost killed by Bruce.
Yes, they had a big knockdown drag out.
Yeah, Tony wants to go after him. Like the other Avengers, like, we'll sit back. Thor's got this. We'll deal with it until we get more intel. And Tony's like, nah, man, I've got my rocket ready at Wundagore. I'm going off to beat him. And we find out that the Iron Man armor that's in the Avengers mountain that's talking with the team is just remotely controlled, and Tony's already on his way to the Black Hand.
Sounds about right.
Thor and all that continue to fight, and something happens when the Bruce aspect of in the Hulk's mind gets knocked out, and it kind of like resets his security measures. So he locked away what happened in El Paso in his mind, deep in his mind, so he couldn't access it. But because he got knocked out by Odin, he can access it now, and we find out that when he was in El Paso, he was at like a bar with bikers, and you think like the bikers would pick on him, but the bikers are like the nicest guys ever. Like one accidentally like knocks a drink over on Bruce, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and Bruce, like, he doesn't really know what happened, but something happened where his rage infected everyone in the town and turned them into Hulks, because he came to El Paso to. The whole thing is there was a monster in El Paso that was apparently killing people at the border that were coming across the border. And he went there to try and deal with it, because he and Hulk, they fought the devil. They agreed, we're going to help save the world. So we're going to help save people. So he went there to find out what it was. And apparently there was no monster, or it's at least implied that he was the monster. And something happens to him where something takes over. It's probably the thing that was in Hulk issue 4, which is the Titan Hulk, which is have you read that issue yet?
I have not. I need to catch up, but please tell me, because I'm all aboard.
It's basically implied that the Titan Hulk is, what if the Hulk had a Hulk? And because obviously Bruce is keeping the Hulk locked in the engine room, you keep that rage and anger and everything bottled up. What the fuck happens to it? And it looks like Doomsday. It like grows, it really grows like all these things, and like sucks energy out of people and everything. And I think it's kind of implied that's what happens to Bruce here, where like something dark takes over, his eyes go black, and he ends up ripping apart this entire town as Bruce Banner. And then he wakes up and everything's on fire, everyone's dead, and
they're all blaming him for it.
Yeah, they're all blaming him for it. And it's at that point he realized that like the fury of the Hulk and the rage can't be tamed or worked with. So he, instead of it using him, he decides he's going to use it. And that's where he developed like the Starship Hulk.
Right. Okay. Maybe I need to catch up on this, because this does sound pretty fun. And it sounds like Cates is building on several ideas that he's planted across Thor and Hulk.
Yes. And just as Odin is about to like sort of work out with Bruce of like how to deal with it and everything, fucking Iron Man shows up in his giant armor and it's looking to like kill the Hulk.
Thinking the wrong thing. You don't know. We were working it out.
Yeah.
Okay, you sold me. I might have to check in on this now.
It's really fucking cool, because it's building off all that stuff Al Ewing did, but like it's not retconning it or anything or resetting it. It's like just taking what was there and just building stuff on top of it.
Right. Huh. Okay. Might be something there. I might have to look into it again. I didn't know I'd be getting into like a new crossover series and having to like cover double books and everything. But maybe when it's done,
very short. This Banner of War. It's like I think there's 2 more issues of like Hulk and Thor left for it to finish.
Right, because I know they had like an Alpha issue, and then Thor came out this week.
Yeah, they had the Alpha, then Thor, then Hulk, and then Thor, and then I think that's it. Okay,
well at least it is a little on the short side. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. All right. Last one I read this week was Immortal X-Men #2.
Yeah, see, I read X-Men Red instead of this one, but I'm gonna read this one.
All right, well, we can contrast and compare. So that first issue of Mortal X-Men was basically all about Mr. Sinister and all the machinations of the Council.
Yes.
This one is all about Hope Summers, the newest member of the Council, who I think basically she's going to be our POV going forward now.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, she's the one who kind of gets the Council and everyone into gear and into action to fight Celine's monster that she created because she was all pissed about being passed over.
Nice.
It's super cool, actually, because she's like, yeah, I've been on the 5 for so long. I haven't been out in the field in forever. I'm feeling rusty. I used to have a sidearm. I used to be like this big bad fighter, and now I kind of need to find myself again.
Mm-hmm.
It's solid. It's a good mix. Mr. Sinister has a great moment where he's like, hey, I think I know how to beat the monster. I've been working on a chimera formula that when I take it will turn me into a giant kaiju, Sinister. And Professor X is like, are you fucking kidding me? You were working on that? And it's like, now, don't worry. It's not finished. I'm growing teeth everywhere like a Cronenberg monster. But aren't you glad I have it to fight this kaiju threat? Also, one small problem. It's unstable and I'm going to explode any minute now, so can someone please save me when I explode?
Oh no.
It's very funny. Sinister's funny, and Hope like kind of wins the day too, because Destiny tells her like, hey, Celine's gonna be by this window and she's gonna look out it for no more than 3 seconds. Do with that information what you will. And Hope's like, well, I was raised by Cable, in a dark future, so I know my way around a sniper rifle. Hey, someone open me a portal. I'm gonna borrow some powers. She does it, jumps through the portal, does like a fucking Call of Duty 360 no scope, kills Celine, and it's like, that's okay, right? I didn't break any council rule, right? No, we're gonna let this one slide. Just because she was a bitch, so it's okay.
You're a new council member. You always get one. You get one.
That's basically what they do. It's like, well, you saved the day, and I mean, she sucks. And I mean, she's not really dead because we can bring her back whenever we want. We just don't want to because she was mean to us. So we're just gonna keep her dead for the next little bit. Good job. Welcome to the council. We love how you bend the rules when it suits you.
You'll fit in right.
That's literally the story. You're gonna fit in just great, Hope. Bland Man helping us out. Oh yeah, another episode of Joel's speed run to becoming broke from Matt's comic recommendation. Basically, yeah, like I think I have a healthy number of comics, and then it's like, okay, I'll read this crossover shit. I was reading Thor anyway, but I fell behind because the big Odin funeral issue was like 60 pages.
Yeah, it's pretty big, but it's worth it. It's a good book.
It looks good, and it's like I'm gonna get to it eventually when I have time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although then again, I'm like 2 behind now and a crossover. This is the sort of thing that makes me stop. Where I'm like, that's just a lot of work to catch up on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was Immortal X-Men. It is very cool.
Cool. I wonder where the Sinister stuff fits in with what we saw in X-Men 11, where he's Dr. Stasis, or a clone of him is Dr. Stasis.
Yeah. Again, I'm assuming that's just like a clone that got away, where it's like, crap, what did I do with that one? I'm missing one.
Yeah.
Also, as another fan pointed out, apparently in another issue, Sinister made a point of saying like, I got rid of all the parts of me that's a eugenicist. Okay. So I could better fit in with Krakoa, and I'm like, is that the part of him that was like a weird eugenicist? Is that what Dr. Stasis is? Just all the eugenicist parts of Mr. Sinister? If so, that's actually pretty clever.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
That's a pretty clever idea, and also you built up to that over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So what was X-Men Red like?
Oh, this was a good issue. This was a fucking good issue. So the first issue we saw, much like the Immortal, how it was like Sinister and now Hope. The first issue of that we saw Storm setting up the Brotherhood of Araco. This issue is Brand setting up the X-Men Red team. And it's mainly focused around Vulcan.
Really?
Yeah, because Vulcan's quite mentally ill at the moment.
Sure is.
He's like seeing Petra and Sway, who are dead, long dead.
Yes.
He's seeing
Yes,
them.
he was seeing them before, actually,
Yes.
too, so he's been fucked up for a while.
Yeah, he's seeing them like in his head, and like Xavier and all that want to like tap into his mind to like help him and like kind of ride it, but he doesn't want any help, so he ends up leaving. He ends up kind of blowing up the summer house and leaving for, and that's how he wound up on Mars in that first issue, where he was like picking on Shi'ar diplomats in the diplomatic zone and everything.
Yes.
But Brand has gotten a hold of him. It's like, hey, you're like just the type of unstable mutant I like. Come and join Sword. And she introduces him to the X-Men Red Team, which is just the Sword team.
Yes.
They're all like happy to, do what they need to do on Arakko, except for Manifold. And he's like, I don't know, why does Arakko need a Krakoan X-Men team? They have their own government, their own people.
Yeah.
They should look after themselves. It should be them who look after their home, not us. And he's also calling Brand out on her ship because she killed Henry Gyrich and took his place on Orchis.
Oh, is Henry Gyrich dead?
She blew him out of an airlock.
Okay, yeah, because he was in everything for me.
Yeah.
He was making trouble for the Hulk. He was making trouble for the X-Men.
Yeah, she blew him out of an airlock and took his place on Orchis. And he would have been saved by Manifold, but Brand actually... it's really quite genius, because in that final issue of Sword, she dropped the Sword Station on Australia, so Manifold had to rush to save his homeland, so he couldn't be available to save Henry. So she blew him out of the airlock while he was indisposed, so he died, and Manifold calls her on her shit about this, and she's like, I didn't kill him, he committed suicide, he blew himself out of an airlock, I didn't do anything, I just watched, so he ends up quitting the team and leaving. And so then Cable has to fill in for like the transportation of the group, and it's just in time because the Progenitors attack Arakko. The Progenitors, those big fucking weird monster scientists that the Inhumans fought a couple of times.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been a while since I've heard about that.
Yeah, they've come to Arakko to like study people, which means killing people and taking their powers and shit. And the team respond to the threat, and Cable is killed almost immediately.
Yikes.
And the team don't know what the fuck to do, because this is like their first mission. They literally met 10 minutes ago, so they're trying to figure out what to do. So Brand tells Vulcan to take command and instill his will over the people of Arakko and get them to leave, because the people of Arakko are attacking, but the Progenitors attacked like an art community, so it's like people who can like make constructs of cubes and like music, not actual powers, so they can't defend themselves.
Right.
But they're Iraqi, so they think they can, and they don't like the Krakoans. So yeah, the Krakoan X-Men are kind of making things worse, and we learn that that's actually Brand's plan to make have like this X-Men team not even bother protecting them, but kind of fuel that anti-Krakoan X-Men sentiment in the Iraqi,
start
and cause
a civil war between them.
Yeah, that's her thing. And then so they'll destroy each other, and then Orchis can come in and kind of like clean up the mess, because Orchis is on the moon of her. Yeah, but what she didn't count on was the Brotherhood of Arakko, and they turn up and they end up fighting the X-Men Red Team and just destroying them. Just absolutely, like Vulcan ends up trying to take on Storm, and Storm ends up just like brutally killing him with like she like causes lightning to form in him. And like,
that's a pretty good fucking win for her, considering how strong Vulcan is usually shown to be.
Well, she makes a point of that. She makes a point, it's like, we're both Omega level mutants. We both have really good energy-based powers. But the problem is, I have learned to train with my powers. You haven't, because he thinks
you're the strongest.
He thinks
already.
He's the strongest. He's the emperor of the Shi'ar Empire, and he thinks he's never had to train or anything. So she has more control over her power.
That makes sense, because like Vulcan, whenever we see him, he's mostly just drinking and sulking.
Yeah. That's pretty much what that's literally the first page. He's like drinking margaritas, because that's the only thing that helps him, like dulls his mind, so he doesn't get fucked up more.
That's fair for the legacy of this character, to get beaten by Storm just to show how much more powerful she is and more disciplined.
And the book ends with Brand realizing, okay, we've got to rethink of how we do things. So I want you to go and kill Tarn the Uncaring, so then you can take his place on the Great Ring Council of Arakko,
right.
and we'll fight them with politics.
Cool. Very Game of Thrones. I like Tarn the Uncaring too. He was in that Hellions book.
Yeah, he's a mainstay in this book, and he was in like the end of like the Sword book. Yeah, he's called the Arakko Boogeyman.
Right. He's their Mr. Sinister, basically.
Pretty
he
much,
even them out.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, that also sounds good. Again, I know I didn't read Sword because I had to cut something, but you did have me at Arakko Brotherhood that are actually the good guys.
Yes. Yeah.
That sounds like a fucking winning combination.
It's the good guys, and the team is made up with like some questionable people. Like Magneto's on the team. This guy called the Fisher King, who is an Arakko with no powers. Yet the people of Arakko see him as like some like second coming of Jesus, but he won't like reveal why.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really quite an interesting team makeup. Oh, and what's his name's on the team as well? Roberto da Costa.
Oh, the fucking DaCosta came back.
Yeah.
That's good. Good for him. Good for DaCosta.
Yeah.
All right. So is that it for this week? I think that's everything we read.
I think so, yeah.
I think that's everything we read. Tell you what, before we go, everyone, we're going to see what's coming out this week and what you can check out today as this show drops on Wednesday for everyone.
I've been checking to see when Dark Crisis begins, but I know it's not this week.
Yeah, it's weird. They had that big first issue, and then they're like, we're going to cool off for a bit. All right, here. I got the release calendar up here in a second. No, not just the Marvel one. I want everyone. God damn it. There's more than one group of comics that come out every week. Okay, what do we got? Saga fans. You got more Saga to look forward to.
Oh, nice.
The next part of Podcaster Riddler comes out.
Oh, nice.
We got some more Moon Knight. We got the next Action Comics. That story's definitely heating up.
Oh, nice.
We got Amazing Spider-Man #2, following up on that one from Zeb Wells.
Nice.
We got Hulk #7, the next part of Banner of War.
Yep.
Avengers 56. Oh, it looks like Jane is meeting Jane on the cover of this one.
Mm-hmm.
We got Batman Beyond White Knight #3.
Ooh.
Punisher #3. Devil's Reign Origins. Yeah, it's been a while since we've checked back on in with Daredevil.
Yeah, Devil's Reign Origins. What the fuck's that gonna be?
Omega, sorry. Devil Reign.
Oh, Omega. Oh, okay.
So the fallout from that, and I guess whatever the book is going to become now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's I'm shocked. I'm like, wait, didn't the Omega already come out?
Yeah,
You thought it would have come out closer to the actual thing itself.
Yeah, because that book ended, what, a couple of weeks ago?
A while ago, I think a couple months ago now.
Yeah.
We got Deathstroke Inc. #9, which is the continuation of Shadow War.
Mm-hmm.
Legion of X #1. The continuation of Way of X, Nightcrawler and the Mutant Religion. Yeah, sign me up.
Nice.
I want me some of that. DC versus Vampires Hunters #1. I know you were reading that.
Yeah, I was reading that this is the first tie-in for that book.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a tie-in.
Right. We got Robin 14. Is that also Shadow War?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, Deathstroke Terminated. Yes, this is also... Okay, so we're getting 2 Shadow War books in 1 week. God damn, this series is longer than it needed to be.
At least it's going on. I saw that they released like a big tie-in this week, I think it was this week. I'm probably not going to read it just because it's I don't need to know what Black Canary's up to. Or...
Likewise, yes. I skipped that for the same reason. Radical Red Radiant Red #3. Godzilla vs. the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 3. Power Rangers Universe #6. Oh, did you see they came out with a brand new gender non-binary Power Ranger, the Death Ranger?
Yeah. I think that's like the perfect like name for like a non-binary character because Death is non-binary.
Death knows no gender, no
it's
color,
so fucking
no
cool.
creed.
It's so cool.
And all the actual queer non-binary people I follow on Twitter are like, this is fucking metal as hell. Finally.
It's so cool.
Finally, the representation we want, just making us sick as hell. And I'm like, I agree. I'm very happy for you that you can have a character that's sick as fuck. That's about it for all the big titles we got coming out. So you can look forward to that this week, again today, as you're seeing this, because the episode drops on Wednesday for everyone else. And if you're a patron, you'll get to listen to the show first before anyone, be it in both audio and digital format. Again, you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. It's always very appreciated. It helps us keep the lights on here, helps me pay in Matt, helps me do all the important things that I need to do, take care of my dirty, rotten teeth. So, your money is going to a good place, I promise. So thank you, everyone, for that. We'll be back again next week for more good showness. And thank you, everyone, for sticking around with us here late Sunday night.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
All right, bye-bye. See you next time.
Bye.